motive for making all this stuff.
Morning. Turn my phone on.
Our membership goal has grown 14-fold.
And all your signals on the
I'll send messages
I will make an announcement about this. Announcements prior to that. You don't have to do it. Remember when cell phone?
yeah.
Oh,
yes.
That's fine. She's not into that's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna try now.
Okay, so you've done
It sounds a little more authentic. You know, real cameras ought to be better, but
I have a grand piano, so I'm trying to figure out, I'm gonna put it in my will. For a will place it, and you're one of them, so if I pass, you can have the grand piano, but you have to move it. You'll have to move it. If you have a church, to play, but if you have to have a church, you have to be already.
well, thank you for being here.
I've got all those ducks in a row.
That's good.
Makes up something else.
And then the other thing is like after, if I write a long text and I want to go back and look at it without pushing them.
They're all
Yeah, exactly. I got a Motorola, I don't, whatever, I don't know what I'm gonna do next.
That's probably annoying.
No, I did.
He's gonna sing the part, the high part with you, some steps. You were singing alto, but the station was singing.
But I because she's a dumb person, recommended this thing called it's a little machine. I'd never heard of it before. And now, these are, I didn't get it before that. But she doesn't know what she's doing. I mean, she's like, just playing. Oh yeah, it worked out beautifully. I mean, she scratched me yesterday and nothing.
On certain parts of freedom, I'm hoping that you will join me on the work part. But yeah.
Do I do a stand?
I think we're all gonna stand back here, so maybe you and me and Dan.
Sorry, I've got that piece on playing for my music show.
What's a good pre-push prelude?
So, keypad, the old fashioned keypad outside the garage door, which uses the number and the express door.
I try to do that too, you know. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. I just want to let you know you're always welcome to come, and just if you're ever feeling it, just come. Even if I'm preaching and you want to do it, I'd love to do a dialogical episode. Like you're my favorite person to do this. Like and they love you. So I really appreciate it. I can't do this.
There you go. Well,
Or,
we're all gonna sing melody on the first time through.
okay. I'll play through, wait, yeah, we'll play.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to all who've joined us in person, as well as all of those who've joined us online. We're glad that you're all here to join us in this time together. My name is Brian. My pronouns are he, him, for those of you that don't know me. We'd like to first of all welcome Sana back, who's going to be doing our speaking today. When I announced that she's coming, I see all the smiles, so I want to make sure we resound with that whenever she's standing before us. Also, just as a couple of announcements here, one, we don't take an offering. We actually have a plate in the back if you feel like that you want to manually donate. But if you want to digitally donate, notice how I've updated my announcements. If you want to digitally donate, those links are on our website, so feel free to do that. If you are interested in joining the church, please let us know. Please see Kathy about that, and we'll work on getting you the information that you need. Today we are going to be learning about steadfast love in times like these from Asana. Next Sunday, I'm going to be preaching or speaking, and we're going to be talking about what it means to be in communion in a church that doesn't take communion. And so that should be a very interesting thing, I think, hopefully for us to have a good discussion about. This Friday, November the 15th, is our very first, our inaugural, I need more tea, service that we're going to do our third Friday PM service, which is poetry and music. This Friday is more of an organizational, soft, grand opening service. All are welcome to come. We're going to have a little music, a little poetry, and a lot of discussion about where we see these things going in the future. But it's meant to be a less formal time, more earth-based. In fact, on the equinoxes and the solstices, those services will all be on the third Fridays as well. A little more formal, but in between we'll have the Friday services that are more creative and experiential. So please come and be a part of the music and poetry. Even if you're not a musician and you're not a poet, if you'd like to read a poem, just let me know. You don't even have to let me know. Just bring it and we'll do it. That's one of the times that we can do things less formally, and we're really excited about the possibilities. Speaking of third Fridays, on December the 20th, we have our winter solstice service. If you are interested in being a part of the leadership, if you want to read, if you want to light a candle, if you want to sing, And please let us know. We'd love to have you. If you want to do something that's musical, see Chuck. If you want to do something that's more liturgical, see me or any of us. They'll get you to the right place. And then the last announcement that I have for now. Well, no, I got one more after this. Shelley Dugan will be here on November the 24th. I will not be here that day. Shelley's going to come and share with you. I'm going to be going, and I have resigned from a ministry that I have been doing on Sunday afternoons, which is why I don't stay around a lot on Sundays, which can change now. And so I'm saying farewell to those people on November the 24th. But we're excited that Shelley's coming back. And finally, for my announcements, I just want to reiterate that we have a Friendsgiving on Thanksgiving at our farm. It starts at 2. The first dinner is at 2 in the afternoon. How Minnesotan is that? 2 in the afternoon for dinner, or supper, or whatever you want to call it. But anybody in the congregation is welcome to come by if you don't already have something to do. And even more importantly, for those that may not have a place to go, please come and be a part, even if you come later in the evening. This is not something it's expected, but I just have you'll hear my story next week, so we'll get there now. But there's a reason why it's so important for me to offer a time and a place for people that don't have anywhere else to go or just don't want to go anywhere else. Please come and feel free to be a part. Just RSVP so we have enough food. So, all right, now, anybody else have announcements that you'd like to share? Kathy.
The sign-up genius for treats is pretty empty. We only have 1 week filled between now and the end of the year, so please think about going to we don't want Brian to be without his treats.
Priorities.
So the link to the sign-up genius is in the weekly MailChimp that
4 o'clock.
Chuck sends out, and I don't know if it's on the website or not, but we should make that happen.
I'm sorry, what needs?
Is the Sign Up Genius on the website?
Oh, no, that's a good point. I could put a link on there.
Cool.
And we'll definitely put a link on the new website that's forthcoming.
I have 2 announcements. One, some of you had some stuff on your chair. This is an announcement as a Moose Jaw congregational connector. One of our sister congregations in Minnetonka really supports this sleep out thing for homelessness. It's too late for our congregation to get organized to have our own sleep out. They take youth of the congregation and they actually sleep outside.
Yeah.
Try to educate
Our
them
kids
about
have done
homeless.
that in the past.
Yeah. So what you have on, this is how you could donate though, if you're interested in donating to their cause. And it's up there. So if anybody wants one of these slips of paper, let me know. The other announcement I have is, some of you may remember we're trying to invite people from the apartments around us to come and join us on Sundays. So those postcards are kind of getting printed. Wednesday evening at 6:30, we are going to meet at Peggy's.
They'll be printed before, but
Yeah, they're going to be printed
assembled.
beforehand. We're going to assemble them at Peggy's 6:30 to 8:30, we said, I think. And so see me or see Peggy if you need an address. That's this Wednesday. Thanks.
Go ahead.
This afternoon, 4 to 6, the Common Good interfaith group that Kelly and I are a part of is hosting a gathering at the mosque in Burnsville with some of our Muslim friends and
other faith
other
traditions.
faith people of faith, and just to have discussions and gathering and greeting and talking about gratitude.
Gratitude.
Is the
And it's
main
actually
theme.
4 to 5:30, not 6.
Oh, 4 to 5.
All are welcome.
Other announcements.
Oh, there's a reception this afternoon at 1 o'clock, 1 to 4, I think it is, at the Kuba Gallery, at the Isaac Watley building. But another major photographer who has never exhibited before is somebody that Holly met in the woods.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and I guess he's got some really beautiful things, and that's the first time he's shown anything. If you haven't been there, it's an older house in the woods by the trail that goes down along the Mississippi River, and it's in Bloomington on Auto Club Road, right across from Founder's Ridge. which is a senior living center by the, near the Mason, what do you call it?
Masonic Home?
Masonic Home, yeah. So,
Wonderful, thank you. Anything else? Okay, I invite us all into this space, into this intention. I invite you also to take a deep, slow, gentle breath and rid yourself as much as possible of the activities of the week, the chaos of the world around us, and be present as we meditate on this musical prelude. I now invite us to remain seated so that everybody can see the screen and join us in our opening words and the lighting of the chalice. Spirit of all that moves among us and through us, now that the most recent election has come, help us to let love lead even though it is not easy at times. Help us recognize that disappointment and frustration can also fuel passion. Passion to build something better that holds all of us at the center.
Help us to imagine and to foster a world in which we listen more than we talk, where our priority is to learn as much as teach, a world in which we find ways to connect across the chasms of difference, despite fear and uncertainty, making space for revelation to emerge.
Spirit of love, help us turn toward love with the world, with our nation, with each other, with ourselves. All the same thing at its core. Let us extend grace within our movements and between our movements. Less sure, more curious, wondering together what is possible even though it seems so very challenging at times.
Spirit of all that is open and hopeful, guide us in building a larger tent with those with whom we differ, sometimes quite vehemently. Let us learn too from our ancestors, from generational pain and generational survival, the movement of generations building across difference of something better, larger, more encompassing, that can hold us all.
Spirit of hope, spirit of all that is yet possible, Lead us away from the division and separation and the belief that the only truth is ours, that anything less is incomplete. Lead us instead into the discomfort of learning from others outside our own political and social walls.
Spirit of light, lead us to the love that holds us all and is with us always. The love that can help us through the messy and necessary life-altering work of building movements across beliefs, across difference, for momentum that brings enduring change and that gives life to hope, even in the
darkness of our grief.
Therefore,
Can't see those.
in the spirit of hope and endurance, we light this chalice together and say,
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal with love, to help with compassion, to bless with joy, to serve you, Spirit of freedom, in the fullness of community.
I'm wondering if we need to rise since this is on the slides, but our opening hymn is "This is a Day of New Beginnings," and I'd like for us to rise if possible, but
I
we may have
have-
to shuffle around to see.
If it's hard to see the screen, I do have,
Oh, good.
Copies.
Or you give it to the people in the back row.
Yeah.
okay.
I can't see it.
Do
Oh,
people
I
want
can't
the
either.
words?
You're right.
I've got 3
Yeah.
words or music up. I would
Words.
just-
Words.
Yeah, just the lyrics.
Okay, so when everybody's got their copies, I will play through it, okay?
This is a day for new beginnings, time to remember and move on, time to believe what love is bringing, laying to rest the pain that's gone. So let us with the Spirit stirring, step from the past and leave behind our disappointment, fears, and grieving, seeking new paths and sure to find. In faith we gather round this table to send a light of love to all. This is a day of new beginnings. This love is making all things new.
You may be seated. This is the time during the service when we pause intentionally to take moments to honor beloved community beyond these walls and even within these walls. Perhaps the greatest gift of belonging to the rooted, dynamic, living tradition of Unitarian Universalism is knowing in our bones that we are both the inheritors of a complex and powerful historical legacy and the stewards of a future yet to be imagined. We are beloved community ourselves, and yet everyone else is beloved community, no matter who they are, who they vote for, or how they believe. It is difficult to love those who seem not to be loving. Today, as it has always been, the unwavering love at the center of our faith is our greatest balm, our strongest shield, and our fiercest power. That animating core of love will both demand our rigorous action and offer us the wellspring of hope and courage that will equip us for that work in times ahead. Beloveds, we will hold our fear together. We will honor our rage and devastation and grief. We will hold one another ferociously, tenderly, and faithfully. And then we will move deliberately. We will invest in trust. We will claim joy, rest, and sustenance. We will resist en masse. We will fight fascism and continue to struggle for democracy. We will continue to build our movements for justice. We will focus our efforts and abandon distractions. We will create safe harbor for those in danger. We will leverage our resources. We will sharpen our skills and our analyses. We will act as if no person is disposable. We will refuse the politics of division and despair. We will seek the wisdom of elders and of history. We will weave deeper connections with our neighbors. We will fight for our survival, and we will create the conditions of possibility for our thriving and liberation. With deep love, faith, and solidarity from the Unitarian Universalist Association. Just needed to pause for a moment. Thank you for pausing with me. This is the time during our service when we offer a time where you can share your joys and or concerns, and if you feel moved to do so, to come forward and light a candle from the chalice. And at the end, I'll light a final candle for all those unspoken joys and concerns.
We're gonna light a candle for my wife. She has a pinched nerve in the lower neck, and her left arm has been not doing so well. It's been completely numb. Her fingers are going numb, and her muscles are all so tight that the doctor. We had muscle relaxers and steroids, and we're trying to get the nerve to pop back
My
up.
foot's not broken anymore.
And your foot's not broken anymore.
I am grateful for being able to sing with other people multiple different evenings this week. Helps me replace some of the darkness in my soul or whatever with some light. And if singing with people does that for you, great. If you know of other activities and creative endeavors to help you do that, I recommend it.
I apologize if this has been mentioned already because I missed a little bit there, but I would like to raise a concern and hope for. There was on Thursday in Egan and Lebanon Hills a report of a sexual assault that took place, and that's one of the places that I walk regularly, and so I'm concerned both for my safety and other people that walk there on their own, as well as concerned for this person that went through this situation. So thoughts going out there.
I'm just going to light a candle. And now I'll light a final candle for all those joys and concerns that remain unspoken. May we know that whatever befalls us in life, we are held in the loving embrace of this community. And now we say together for all these joys and concerns, both spoken and unspoken.
We hold you in our hearts.
Before I turn the service over to Sana, I'm going to give 2 readings that she has requested from me to share with you, and then she has the floor. This is from James Baldwin. The longer I live, the more deeply I learn that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's light. Second reading is from Mary Oliver, one of my favorites. And I have become the child of the clouds and of hope. I have become the friend of the enemy, whoever that is. I have become older, and cherishing what I have learned, I have become younger. And what do I risk to tell you this, which is all I know? Love yourself, then forget it. Then love the world.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Don't you love Mary Oliver? Yes, she's so good. Our third and final reading is from the book of Ruth. It's 3:1-5 and 4:13-16. One day Naomi said to Ruth, "My daughter, it is my duty to ensure your security and fulfillment and make sure you are provided for. And Boaz, whose workers you have been following, is our closest relative. Tonight he will be winnowing grain on the threshing floor. Wash up and put on perfume and dress in your finest clothes. Then go down to the threshing floor. But don't let him know you're there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he goes to sleep, watch to see where he lies down. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down with him. He'll tell you what to do next." Ruth replied, "I will do as you tell me." So Ruth and Boaz were married, and from their union, God enabled Ruth to conceive, and she gave birth to a child. Then the women of the village said to Naomi, "Praise be to God, who has not abandoned you, but provided you with yet another redeemer. May the child's name be remembered through all of Israel, and give you renewed life and support when you are old. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you and proven better than 7 of your own children could ever have, has given birth to him." Naomi took the child into her lap, and she became his caretaker. And let us pray. Let's take a good deep breath. Spirit of life and love, open our ears and our hearts this morning to receive your word. Amen. All right. So you should know that I chose this reading before the election, and I won't do that again. Coincidentally, I preached on this same story the weekend Roe versus Wade was overturned back in the summer of 2022. Back then, I was at a loss for words, as I am today, unsure what to say to you and how to console you, and frankly myself, when hate and evil seem to have won this week. I'm not going to pretend I'm okay. I'm not okay. I'm not going to sugarcoat or avoid talking about the hard thing in the room, because that would be a disservice to you and not what I've called to do here. But I do want to make room for grief and everything that comes with it. You, like I, might need to take a moment or many moments to mourn, to sit quietly in our grief, to maybe even scream into the silence. And that's okay. Our heartbreak is sacred because it connects us to what matters the most. This grief we feel is a reflection of what we hold dear, of what we love and what we care for. So even as I share the good news this morning, please know that I am still in shock and I still feel heartbroken. But I also know that heartbreak is born of love, of our fierce desire to protect what is good and holy. I know we're not defeated because this isn't the final word. In times like these, I'm reminded that our role is not to save the world, but to do something good in the world. So on Wednesday morning, I host a small prayer group with a group of friends who I went to seminary with. And I found myself crying with my prayer partners about the election results. I asked, how are we here again? How did we as a country choose a convicted criminal over a black woman? How did we choose racism and sexism and hatred over a qualified woman with a plan? Because I remember 2016, and I said to my prayer partners, I cannot live through another Trump presidency where every week is an evil circus show. The constant assault on immigrants, people of color, queer people, trans people, marginalized folks, communities, people that I belong to, communities I belong to, and people that I love. What do I tell my sweet, innocent 10-year-old child who reminded me to vote for the right person? What do I tell him about this country? Because we knew better, but we didn't do better. And I and many women of color hope that maybe as a nation we were not as racist and as sexist as this week demonstrated. I'm heartbroken because I allowed myself to hope. We allowed ourselves to hope. We allowed ourselves to be vulnerable enough to hope, to believe that another world was possible. But I refuse as a person of faith to let my anger become meanness, to let my sorrow collapse into self-pity or despair. Instead, I pray. I pray that my heart stays soft enough to keep breaking. I pray that my anger continues to radicalize me towards justice. And I remind myself and you that we do all this for the sake of love. We do what we do for the sake of love. And I think Ruth knew a little bit about this kind of love. So somehow the book of Ruth made it into the Bible. It's only one of two books named after women, and Ruth is a foreign woman, a Moabite heroine. And if you read the four short chapters, you may notice that God is hardly mentioned in this book. The book takes place during the time of Judges before the monarchy. This is a period in Israel's history that is considered chaotic and unstable, unlike today, where everyone was doing what they thought was best for themselves and not necessarily following God's law. The book of Ruth is about an ordinary family during a time when people believed God spoke through judges and kings. But we see in this story of Ruth and Naomi, God embodied in Ruth's steadfast love. This story reminds me that God doesn't need to speak or be named or be present in our lives to be present in our lives. God is always present when we do God's will and follow God's ways. And in this Bible story, Naomi believes God has abandoned her. So Naomi is Ruth's mother-in-law. She has left her homeland, lost her husband and sons, feels alone, and is in grief. She is so distressed upon returning to Bethlehem. When others greet her, she replies, "Do not call me Naomi," which means joy. "Call me Mara, for God has given me a lot very bitter. I went away full and God brought me back empty. How can you call me Naomi when God has dealt with me harshly, when God has given me misfortune?" Because of her many losses, Naomi feels completely deserted, even as Ruth stands beside her. So here's the backstory to get a refresher, because I'm sure you didn't read the book of Ruth yesterday. Naomi and her family are from Bethlehem, and they moved to Moab because of the famine in her land. All the males in her family, that her son and her husband, die in Moab, leaving Naomi without a male to relieve, to care for her, which is necessary in those times. So for women, there was two ways to be valued in that society: as an unmarried virgin in her father's household, or as a child-producing wife in her husband's household. Women were essentially the property of men to control and care for. We've made progress. Otherwise, women were generally considered worthless and had to depend on the laws that provided for the poor, the orphan, the widow, and the foreigners. They were at the mercy of men and charity. Naomi decided to move back to Judea, her land, with her people, where there was prosperity again when everyone passed, when all the males had passed. She tells her widowed daughter-in-laws to return to their parents, they're both from Moab, and to remarry so they can be taken care of. Orpah leaves. She decides, okay, I'm going to stay here and be with my people. But Ruth claims her love for Naomi and decides to stay with Naomi. Instead of going back with her parents and securing a life for herself, Ruth chooses to become a foreigner and Naomi's companion, and one of the most vulnerable members of society that is not her own. In spite of Naomi's bitterness and attempts to unbind or push her daughter-in-law away, Ruth chooses to enter in covenant with Naomi, with her people, with their land, and their God. Binding herself to Naomi, Ruth puts her life and her future in Naomi's hands. And in doing so, she defies what society expects of her and follows a divine, steadfast love. Ruth risked it all in the name of love. And is that not what the definition of steadfast love is? To risk it all? To look beyond fear and social convention? To do what is right in the name of love? To take risks to support the well-being of another? To claim them as your own? To tie your fate to someone else's fate? Is that not what steadfast love is and what we aspire to do in community? This faithful, steadfast love is what guides Ruth when she proclaims her love to Naomi. And we find her words in chapter 1 that she says to Naomi, and this is used often in heterosexual marriage ceremonies. It goes like this, you may be familiar. She says, "Do not press me to leave you, to turn back from following you. Where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May God deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me." So let me be frank. As a queer woman, this is the queerest story in the Bible. Ruth comes out and declares her love for her mother-in-law and dedication to Naomi. Biblical scholar Naomi West argues that these words and actions present the closest physical relationship between two women in the Bible. The Hebrew word that describes Ruth's clinging, it's lavka, to Naomi is the same word used in Genesis 2:24 to describe the relationship between a man and a woman in marriage. Adam leaves his father and mother and clings to his spouse, and the two become one flesh. Mona writes, "Ruth is our queer ancestress, and she courageously names and affirms a relationship, love, and dedication that with seemingly overwhelming odds." While the queer part of this story resonates with me, there's a lot of the story I cannot identify with. I personally cannot see myself acting like Ruth did. Like, how many of you would care for your mother-in-laws in this way? Don't raise your hand. It's being recorded. How many of you would bind your life to their life? Give up your family and your people and your land to care for someone that's not your blood relation. But that's exactly what Ruth did. Ruth is not only the great-grandmother of David, who is in the lineage of Jesus, but Ruth shows us how to love one another, how to value life. She demonstrates covenant love and faithful care. The story of Ruth teaches us that in times of despair, our survival is found in steadfast love. Our freedom is found in solidarity, and our divinity is in our devotion to loving each other through the muck and mire of life. Amy Lara Hill, a Christian ethicist, notes that Ruth's place in Jesus' lineages is one of a number of remarkable women. In Matthew's genealogy, Jesus Christ is the son of Tamar and Rahab and Ruth, 3 women remembered for their unconventional acts of courage on behalf of God's people. Hill challenges the idea that these women acted in gender-specific ways of compassion, but rather, Ruth's vow is one of resolute, courageous fidelity. Faithful, loving kindness and care is not a gender trait, but is something we choose to do. It is holy work. What does this faithful, steadfast love entail? It involves Naomi relying on Ruth, and Ruth relying on the kindness of strangers to go above and beyond the law. Because Levirate law required a living brother or next of kin to marry his deceased brother's widow. Don't follow, it's complicated. And have a son in his name. Boaz was not the next of kin to make Naomi. Boaz was not required to marry Naomi or Ruth or to buy the land that Naomi's family lost when they left. But Boaz, being a man of God, chooses to go above the law. When Ruth literally throws herself at Boaz's feet, in spreading her cloak, she's in essence asking to marry her. Naomi did not ask her to do that. Naomi only wanted Ruth to seduce Boaz. Ruth took it one step further and asked for marriage instead of waiting for Boaz to suggest it. And surprisingly, Boaz admired Ruth's steadfast love and loyalty to Naomi. Ruth, who is young and beautiful and who could have a younger, richer man, instead used her sexuality to secure her life and the life of her mother-in-law. Ruth and Boaz both go above and beyond the law to take care of each other and create a new unconventional family, a family in the lineage of Jesus. I believe Naomi and Ruth's survival skills are less important than the depth of their love and concern for one another, for the kind of concern the Bible calls hesed. Hesed is Hebrew for steadfast love. This steadfast love is something upon which we can use to build communities of faith and co-create a better, more just, and loving world. A covenant of love and care for one another provides a place and an experience where we can get a taste of what it is to live in beloved community. We as faithful people choose love. And if you remember my presentation in January when I talked about Article 2 of the UU's Association Bylaws, which by the way passed in the Synod, it says that love is the power that holds our faith together. It is the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of our living shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. And back then, I reminded you of what Bell Hooks wrote. Quote, "We must be willing to be in the school of continuing education about the people and things we say we care about. Because love requires time. Love requires courage. Love requires the willingness to change and be changed. The act of love means stepping outside of oneself and having the courage to face our fears in order to embrace the other as ourselves. We honor the legacy of Ruth today and every day when we embody steadfast love. And in times like these, now more than ever, we must double down how we care for one another and how we resist the powers of evil. Pastor Brian, in his blog post, which I know everybody read, right? Quotes Reverend Michael Tino from the Church of the Larger Fellowship, who reminds us that we are part of a faith grounded in love, and we can rise together to meet the challenges that come our ways in ways we love and care for people and communities. So yes, we are tired, we are heartbroken, we are afraid knowingly an openly racist and rapist is coming into office in January. So take a moment, take as many moments as you need to gather yourself, to take care of yourself, and remember that caring for others is part of how we sustain ourselves. Remind yourself of who and what you love, who and what we love. Remember that love is an act of resistance. In this tide of hate, remember that love is our anchor, our strength, our purpose. Love gives us the strength to carry on, even in the darkest times ahead. It is our steadfast love for each other and for justice and for the world that we can co-create something beautiful together. And after we take the time to grieve, let Ruth and Naomi's story remind us of what we're called to do. We as a church community will not and cannot stop working towards the beloved community, a community of love where we say to our neighbors, your people are my people. What happens to you happens to me, because we understand that your liberation and our liberation are tied together. We commit and put into action resisting systems of oppression. We commit and put into action striving for our collective liberation, but not in the ways we've done before, because doing charity and hoping things will change does not work. We must work on mutual aid and building up systems and structures of mutual support and our continued mission to secure the lives of the living and of all creation by caring for one another with steadfast love and dedication. Ruth embodied the steadfast, faithful love through her relationship with Naomi. And faithful love requires sacrifice. It entails hard, challenging work that can only happen in relationship with one another. And I believe our commitment to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly is primarily done through our loving relationships with one another in community. It is what we choose. It is there where we choose love. It is there where we choose life. It is there where we choose liberation over fear, control, and domination. It is where we start to create a more just and loving world. May we all allow this story of our spiritual ancestor to inspire us with ideas on how to resist the forces of evil, how to work together to be transformed by the Spirit. May our lives together demonstrate what Ruth knew, that our survival is found in our steadfast love. Our freedom is found in solidarity, and our divinity is found in our dedication to loving one another in times like these. May it be so. Blessed be.
This is the time during our service when we engage in reflective discussion as you feel moved to do so. And I'll just start it out by saying, for any people that ever say to you that we don't talk about the Bible or God or Jesus in the Unity Church, may it be so. But also with a queer feminist and womanist approach.
Exactly.
Thanks be to the goddess.
Yes.
On the chat,
That was
okay.
Sometimes the best thing is a time of silence. So if we have any people who would like to stay after and continue discussion or start a discussion, feel free to do so. And we really honor and thank you for your message this morning. I'm so glad that I didn't have to do this alone today. Well, I'm never alone because you're all always with me, so. But it's good. Yes,
Can I read a quick prayer?
absolutely.
Actually, Catherine, Kathleen, I
Kathleen.
hope you don't mind, I'm doing this. She shared this with our group yesterday morning, and I just think it was very pertinent. It was written by Venus Williams. She says, "You are awakening to the same country you fell asleep to, the very same country. Pull yourself together. And when you see me, do not ask me, what do we do now? How do we get through the next 4 years? Some of my ancestors dealt with at least 400 years of this under worse conditions. Continue to do the good work. Continue to build bridges, not walls. Continue to lead with compassion. Continue the demanding work of liberation for all. Continue to dismantle broken systems, large and small. Continue to set the best example for the children. Continue to be a vessel of nourishing joy. Continue right where you are, right where you live into your days. Do so in the name of the Creator who expects nothing less from each of us. And if you are not continuing all of the above in community, partnership, collaboration, what is it you have been doing? What is it you are waiting for?"
Amen indeed. So let us rise as we are able and join in our closing hymn, number 18, 1-8.
I will play through the whole thing, 2-3 verses.
May we go forth from this place today, wherever the journey takes you next. Hold on to this steadfast love and keep producing as much steadfast love as you can possibly produce. Grieve first, but love most. And now we're going to have a choir-led
Yes.
postlude.
So if we can have the choir gather
You
back
may
here.
be seated.
But it's 1:55.
Yeah, 155, and
Yeah,
we're
I'll
we're
give
lowering
notes.
it, lowering it down.
Oh, yes,
almost
we're
done.
doing a whole, that's right, I forgot, yeah, I have it written down.
Okay, so, yeah, Brian, if you wanna stand on the end with
Sir.
me and Ann, and then
I mean, when we're singing
Peg, why
together.
don't you stand close
You
to
know,
me?
first is yours, and then I'll sing.
So, what we're gonna do is,
Singing out there.
the choir's gonna sing
So,
the melody, which is the middle
okay.
voice, all the way through, and then we're all gonna sing congregation on the melody, and then we have some harmony parts to throw in there, so. And in between, you're gonna play our starting notes, just so we get, so after the first time through, just play the first two.
Oh, but we're singing unison.
We're singing all in unison right now, so,
Here we
so
go.
this is the choir.
Okay.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.
That's it.
Please join us for treats and new discussion.
I thought it was once us and then once with everybody.
Yeah.
So glad.
I thought you were joining us, didn't I say you were joining us on the section?
Yes, you did, that's what I thought we were gonna do, but I like the sheep and nobody else said. But then you guys went into the harmony and I thought, every other. Not as like jam sometime and maybe my partner John.
That's my fault.
It's all right. You know what?
Yeah, we actually have a bunch of they're fresh out of yeah, we have pretty big monsters, so I really solve them. Yeah, but they're Cornish cross chicken, so they're really like the same chicken they use in the grocery store. Like, they're
other day at the hairdresser gave me a lecture about.
And they're not frozen yet.
Yeah. Oh, they've been frozen for like a day.
I know, I'm gonna, you know,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take in, but one foot in front of the other, I guess. Hi. Good, I'm Chuck. Welcome.
I tried to look it up, but I couldn't find it.
Okay, perfect, thank you so much.
Well, I mean, like I said, we use sensory therapy. I'm not on it. Some mornings I just don't feel like being out
And then we had to find
I mean, I've done some of that. I mean, yes. But pepper spray, it just said to me, I should have wrote it. Oh my God, if you find that in somebody's eyes, you sit down with that. That's how things like that happen. It's like 28 years, but there's different settings on it. So if you're like going out at night, coming into the car, there's lights. Oh, I'm so used to it. Yeah.